Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the regular session meeting for September 5th, 2023 to 7 o'clock. I call this meeting to order. May I have roll call, please?
Mayor Orndorff.
Here.
Commissioner Hewitt.
Here.
Vice Mayor Suey.
Here.
Commissioner Watson.
Here.
Commissioner Romanek.
Here.
I'd like to invite Reverend Murphy up to do the invocation, followed by the salute of the flag, please.
Let us pray. As we move into a brand new school year, we pray for your safety and well-being of all who are involved in educating our children as well as our children. And as we look forward as a city to what is best, we pray for your guidance in the meeting tonight. We pray for your blessing on all who serve, and we thank you, God, for listening. In all things receive honor and glory, for we ask it in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, was advertised, posted, and made available to the public as required by statute. The municipal clerk is directed to include a statement of the minutes of this meeting. Madam Clerk, were there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, we had 5 changes. We had the removal of resolution number 2 concerning Zentugo cannabis per the applicant's request. Also, the removal of resolution number 3 concerning Elixir cannabis, also per the applicant's request. The removal of resolution number 7 for the purchase of 2 storage containers. And then we also had 2 additions, which were the addition of resolution number 8 for the purchase of 4 vehicles, and also the addition of new business item number 3, authorizing the city clerk to advertise for bids for a fall block party beer garden.
Thank you. We have a presentation for this evening.
Okay, we have a water meter upgrade project by Water Superintendent Derek Cheeseman.
Good evening. I'm Derek Cheeseman, Superintendent of the Water Utility. First, I'd like to just let everyone know that the water utility in Millville, along with the sewer utility, are completely self-sufficient, meaning we generate our own revenue. Everything that we do in the city is based off our revenue, our upgrades, our repairs. If we don't have revenue, we don't operate, you don't get good drinking water. Sometimes those things cost more than what our revenue brings in. We have to go out to bond to do those things. By doing that, doesn't mean that your taxes are going to go up or your rates are going to go up. Okay, we do a bond, and the money that this is going to generate is the bond will pay for itself. So it's not going to affect your taxes. It's not going to affect your water rates. So at this time, I'd like to have Rusty Miller from Core and Main step in and give you a quick presentation for our proposed meter upgrade.
My name's Rusty Miller. I'm with Core and Main. We've been a vendor partner with the city of Millville for over 30 years. We provide water and sewer materials, stormwater materials to municipalities and contractors.
Can you speak into the mic?
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry. Across the country. Tonight, I'm here to present our census AMI water metering technology that we've been discussing with the city of Millville. Core and Main is the nation's, as I said, largest water and sewer distributor. 20 branches, or I'm sorry, 320 branches and 4,300 associates across the country. We will install, supply, manage, and also implement and run metering systems across the country, water and electric, and we're beginning sewer. We have over 30 AMI systems deployed in the state of New Jersey and local support of 4 branches in the state. Census Metering is a company that's been around a long time, one of the predominant meters in the country. They transmit over 400 million reads a day. They put 10% back in research and development. They're over 6 continents, and they have 2,000 plus utilities in the country that they partner with. The reason we're here today is to discuss the downfalls of an aging metering system. So I think we determined that Millville's metering system is 30 years plus, probably purchased and installed back in the early 1990s. And at that time, I think those meters had a 10-year warranty. So we've been out of warranty for 20 years. What happens is you're getting 1 read per quarter. A lot of the meters stop, so you're estimating reads. I think at the time of our last meeting, we were estimating 450 to 550 meters every quarter, which ends up being close to 2,000 meters or 25%. What happens when you estimate meters? You don't get an accurate reading. You're missing a lot of revenue that you could be billing to pay for things like a metering system. You have no access to leak detection with an old metering system, and you end up with a lot of unaccounted for water. Unaccounted for water is defined by water that you are pumping and treating, but you're not billing because of leaks you have in your town, maybe unmetered accounts, or old meters that aren't reading properly. This is real. Now, if you go forward with the proposed AMI project, the benefits are astounding. You get more accurate meter readings, more available information for customer water usage, remote water reading, hourly meter reading. I know it sounds foreign to most people, but we can now pick up a toilet leak in a house with our water meters. If a meter, we read the meter automatically every hour on the hour, and instead of finding a leak in your irrigation system in your basement or in your toilet that you never knew you had, you come to the city and say, I have a $1,200 water bill. You don't think it's your responsibility, but at the end of the day, past a certain point on your property, it's your responsibility. What happens is sometimes the city will negotiate it, sometimes they'll give you a lesser bill. One way or the other, either you're paying for it or the city's paying for it. This system eliminates 99% of those, if not all of those issues. You have advanced data analytics, improve customer service, improve efficiency, and demand reading. Tamper monitoring. We do meter installs across the country. It's amazing how many services we come up to that are unmetered. People take their meters out, they cut the wires that are attached to the meters, they turn their meters around because they think if they turn them around, they'll run backwards and their bill will go down. So there's tampering in metering systems. You know, you have to think of the city as running a business. These guys are responsible to give you drinking water per standards in New Jersey, and the only way to do that is have the proper equipment. And you would be shocked with, it's no different than somebody walking in a store and shoplifting. People are doing it to the city every day as well. So these types of systems eliminate that. We also have advanced leak detection, as I said, with the toilets or an irrigation system. But we also have devices that we can drop down in valve boxes. If we find there's a leak in a certain part of town, we can move to, say, 10 or 12 valve boxes in the area and read the water underground. Reads it at night between 2 and 4 in the morning to hear noise of where the leak is. We can find the leak and fix the pipe. Especially in a town like this where there's a lot of groundwater and a river, that water can run forever and you don't even know where it is. So basically, the AMI system's going to capture a lot more revenue that you're not capturing now and help to fix the aging infrastructure. The system's made of, I know this is hard to see, I can't get to a full screen, but on the left side, there's a transmitter that goes on the outside of the house. I'm sure if you've all walked around your house, you've seen a little black box, a little bit smaller than your hand. It sits on the side of your box. We call that a touchpad. So right now, currently, we walk up and we touch a touchpad, and that touchpad goes into a reading device, and we pick up all the reads, and we come back to the city, and we plug it into our computer, and that's how we get our reads. Moving forward, we're going to have that little white box up on the top of the screen. That's going to snap right on that touchpad that you already have in your house. So nobody's going to be running any wires, doing anything in the house other than replacing the meter. We'll go in, replace the existing meter, tie the wire into the meter. That little device reads to an antenna and on the water tower, and we've designated 2 water towers in town. And then at the bottom of the water tower, we have what we call a tower gateway base station that collects all the data. That base station talks to a network device in the city, and that's where we collect all our reads. And then we keep all the reads in a co-location in either South Dakota or North Carolina. Co-location's just a bunch of servers. That's 24 hours, a secure location, so we don't have to keep the information at the city. Something happens and we lost it. This is the meter that we're proposing for the city. It's a no moving parts meter. It now has a 20-year warranty, and not only a 20-year warranty, it's got a 20-year accuracy warranty. So that meter should read to 98.5% for the next 20 years, and it's guaranteed. If it doesn't, we give you a new one. The new one starts at the date that the other one stopped or the new one was purchased. We have leak alarms, tampering alarms, empty pipe alarms, just as we do through the software. We also have it in the meter. So if for any reason we have some sort of a disaster and the tower goes down, we also have the information at every meter. These meters, these new meters with no moving parts and higher accuracy, reduce maintenance and cost on this system. Sorry. This is just our list of commercial meters. One thing we're also doing is concentrating on the commercial meters in town. We haven't done a real good job of we have an ordinance in town where people that have commercial meters, they control the commercial meters. So we just have to get a better meter in there, reading more accurately. We do have some commercial growth in town that we could capture a lot of that revenue that we're probably not capturing now. And we have some unmetered accounts that we have to capture. The system's made up of it's a license frequency that we purchased in the early 2000s. What that means is our system talks from the transmitter to the meter, from the transmitter to the town directly. Most other reading systems bounce around on an unlicensed band, and they get interrupted with any other unlicensed band, police radios, fire, EMS, garage door openers, anything you can think of, they get interrupted. Our system will never be interrupted. You're guaranteed 24 reads every hour on the hour. We have single and dual port available, so you can run 2 meters. If you have an irrigation meter, you can run 2 meters into one transmitter. It just keeps the information in the right place. This is what we call a propagation study. So when we come in and design a system for the city of Millville, we do an RF frequency, run our frequency at certain heights on the water towers to make sure we can cover the whole town, and then we guarantee it. There won't be any surprises. If we can't do what we're saying we can do on this presentation, we provide the extra infrastructure to better read the town. We have 2 towers. I can't even read this. Tower Road and Orange Street. But we have 2 towers that we're going to be working off of, and then, like I said, they'll read back to City Hall. But that is it's a guaranteed propagation study. We did there's a lot of details in it. I do have some copies. What we do when we come in and partner with the city to provide a metering system, we do a cost-benefit analysis. We call it a revenue benefit analysis. So we look at the current revenue you have, and then we look at the water that you're actually pumping out of the ground from your wells and treating. There's a differential in there that we call unaccounted for water or non-revenue water. Basically, you're spending the money to pump this water and treat this water, and you're not selling it to the people in town. So what we want to do is capture as much of that as possible. So the way we develop the cost-benefit analysis is we work on that non-revenue water, and it's basically 13% in the city of Millville. And then through historical data from other projects and towns that we've dealt with, we have formulas to determine what the buyback's going to be for our meter system in the city of Millville. And through a couple charts that we have here, we determined about a 10-year buyback. But when we come into these towns, we're using historical data. It's good, it's not great. We're probably missing, we assume that the meters are half of the non-revenue water. It's probably more. And when we find leaks with the system and we start to clean up commercial accounts, the buyback's going to be a lot less than 10 years. We just try to give a conservative outlook on what we can do and not tell everybody 10 and it be 15. But it's going to be a lot less after meeting with the town and talking about all the opportunities we have to increase revenue. We also have, like we said, 30 of these systems in New Jersey. We've been installing these systems in New Jersey since 2006. This system in particular that we're looking at, that Millville's looking at, we've had in Brigantine, Little Egg Harbor, Stafford for over 15 years. So you're not buying something new that somebody's walking in and trying to sell you it actually works. I actually installed them with our own people, and we just installed our infrastructure last month in the city of Vineland. We're doing their electric and their water. So you're talking to people that have been in the business for a long time, have been in the area for a long time, and every one of these accounts, anyone on council or anyone at the water department's more than welcome to go and visit and make sure it's exactly what they want. That's all I have. You want to open it to questions? Or if anybody has any questions, feel free. That's probably a question for Derek, if you can request a second meter. The transmitter itself has a dual port thing, so if you do have an irrigation, you can have, and that goes to also the commercials have a fire line system. They have a fire line meter and a domestic meter. They can also go to a dual port transmitter, so you don't need to purchase 2 transmitters, you don't need to maintain 2. All the information comes into one transmitter with the 2 different meter IDs.
I have a question with that. Since you're going to have third-party storage of data, it seems, I'll ask a 21st century question. What do you have in terms of security against ransomware, and could you become a portal should you be hacked by somebody and not know it, so that the city could become like the victim of a ransomware account, which also, I guess, raises a question, I guess, for the commission. Are we prepared for something like that? Since now we're looking at bringing this kind of technology in, it's now a real thing. Think about it.
That's why we did it in co-locations, because we didn't want the city to be, have that potential. What happened was, I was trying to explain, it was dark in here, and I'm looking at my notes and I can't see. But we used to have, the city would buy servers. They'd put servers in the office, and they'd run servers. Well, the server's warranty is about a year. The servers go bad, so that started interrupting the flow of the meter reads. But also, it opened them up to ransomware attacks. It opened them up to other things. Our two co-locations that we're operating out of are extremely secure, 24/7, a ton of security. Plus, there's nothing really coming back here. It's like one address. So there's no sharing, no. No. It's very secure. And that's why we did it. Because in many towns, not Millville being one of them, in many towns, people aren't that IT savvy. I mean, we're in small towns across the country. And they're opening up, just like you said, they're opening up behind this system, and they're starting to get on the computer, and they have no idea what's going on, and they can open themselves up to issues. But I think we have it covered.
And will the billing process move to like an online form since we'll be...
That's a question for the city. Our system will mirror up with your current billing system. Okay. So there's.
So I can wait for the city for my next question then. Okay.
You can wait for the city for your next question. We have that ability. That's one of the reasons they're moving. That's one of the reasons they're moving forward with a system like this to get to the next, into the 21st century.
Okay.
Right?
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes.
Would you know that if there's some type of requirement from a state level that meters have to be replaced?
Yes.
Like the lead pipes have to be replaced, but are these meters?
Well, there's requirements with the DEP in regards to unaccounted for water and how well you run your water system. And the meters are a big part of running the water system. So yes, there are requirements, not mandated like the lead pipe mandate in the state, but the state does require you to have certain accountability in your water. So that's a big part of it.
So the city would be required to do something like this?
The city's probably required to do something, a couple of years ago. It just takes time to figure out what you want to do and when you want to do it. But if, so we follow, in the water industry, we follow what we call the AWWA is kind of like our industry standard. It's American Water Works Association. And they recommend a meter installation every 20 years. And I think we're at 32. It's a great meter. It's reading well. The problem is people move in and out of houses. You start losing information. Like I said, we're estimating 25% of the reads. So we're kind of guessing, and then we're catching up if we ever get in to get a read. And the data is just bad. So it's more the technology that we're upgrading. We are putting new meters in, so we're going to read the water much more accurately. But the technology and all this information to really minimize our unaccounted for water is what this project's for. All depending on when the city makes a decision to move forward. Our timeline's probably 4 months to implement infrastructure, meaning putting the towers up, going out and installing the meters, getting installers down here to, it's a crew of people that make phone calls to the residents, let them know we're going to be replacing water meters in your area. So I would say if you make decisions in September, October, you're looking at, as soon as the frost breaks next year. Just have to find locations in the towers, get the infrastructure in, get it installed. Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rusty. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
I hope that answers the question on the reason for the bond.
No, that's definitely helpful. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. In that
Yes.
case, I make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second motion.
Motion and a second to pay the bills. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Wondorf?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Make a motion to approve and dispense with the reading of the following minutes and to proceed with the regular order of business, the July 5th, 2023 work session and the July 5th, 2023 regular session.
Second motion.
I have a motion and second to approve and dispense the minutes for July 5th work session, July 5th regular session. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Wondorf?
Abstain.
Thank you. That's right, you were absent.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Public comment on agenda items only. If anybody has a comment or question on an agenda item, please come to the podium, state your name and your question or comment. Please limit those to 5 minutes.
Somebody want this laptop?
Is that one of ours?
All right, so good evening, everybody. My name is Sean Thom from Our Future First. Now, I'm just going to comment on agenda item 21V5. So, if you've been following what we've been doing, we came in front of the City Commission on August 22nd, and we had our zoning revoked by the City Commission. So what happened at that meeting, and I'm glad we get the opportunity to actually speak about that, is the City Commission allowed an appeal to be heard that was 12 days late, never happened before in legal recorded history ever, because of a mistake that the city made against us. So then they sent that back to the City Commission, and they allowed this hearing to happen. Within the first 5 minutes, City Solicitor Brock Russell throws out, not Rick Abbott's attorney who was appealing our zoning, but the city solicitor throws out this conflict of interest from somebody who sat on the zoning board, whose property was less than 200 feet away from where ours was. And the conflict of interest is really interesting. I'm going to read the way in which it was written in the resolution, because the way it's written in the resolution is not what was actually said in the transcripts. So in the resolution, it specifically says, Mr. Connor, who voted to grant the use variance, commented on the record that he was very familiar with the property because he works right across the street. He suggested that while a gastropub might be a more appropriate use, the building had been vacant for a decade, and he was concerned about vandalism, homelessness, and squatters on the property. Now, that was the line that they used to denote a conflict of interest, to revoke our zoning and send it back to the zoning board. That is not what he said at all, and not at one point did he mention his concern. So what Mr. Connors actually said, and I'm going to read the whole thing so everybody knows. Thank you. I think I closed the public portion. If not, the public portion's closed. I bring it back to the board for finding of fact. I know it's late. I appreciate everybody's patience with this. We'd like to get some discussion, debate amongst the board. I've worked across the street from this building for 11 years, so I'm familiar with what's happened in the last decade. I can attest to, the vandalism, the homelessness. I think people at one point were squatting in the building. So me, as Rob Connor, would love a gastropub there because I work across the street. But as a zoning board member, I have to be realistic and look at the application that's before us. The use is very widespreading. At times it appeared big. I'm not indifferent to the need for this use in this area. I think the positive criteria have been met. Special reasons have been met. Would it negatively impact the zone? I kind of want some discussion about it before sort of weighing in on the application. So I just like to see these other comments if there are any. And those are the exact words that he said. Not at one point did he say that he was concerned about any of those things. The way Mr. Russell and the city commissioners want this to look is that he had some great conflict of interest and his business was going to benefit from this happening, from us being able to have this building and being able to use. But that was never the case. And everybody knows it's not the case. But here we are with a resolution on this agenda today to revoke the zoning for a community center that would actually do good in Center City. Now, I would love to know where it says that he was concerned. It doesn't say that in any way, shape, or form. The words are twisted. The way it was presented, the whole gotcha thing that was twisted at the city commission meeting when the appeal was heard was nonsense. The fact that it was brought up by the city solicitor to assist Rick Abbott in his appeal is also nonsense. But this is what we're dealing with. So while I'm sure it's not going to happen, I am humbly asking the commissioners to vote no on this resolution and allow Mr. Abbott to take this to Superior Court where it should have been decided in the first place. Instead, you are directly and negatively impacting an organization that has done nothing wrong because of the city's fault to incorrectly publish the notice in the newspaper. No fault of our own, but yet we are the ones spending tens of thousands of dollars on legal fees because of mistakes of the city. Thank you.
Yes, we're not going to relitigate this tonight. Made your decision. The only act tonight is the ministerial act of memorializing the decision. And by the way, the resolution that he's referring to, I believe it does quote Mr. Abbott's statement. I believe it's in there. Certainly the record speaks for itself. If he doesn't like what the board did, he can take an appeal to Judge Telsey.
Thank you. Seeing nobody else, I'll close the public comment on.
Mrs. Kears.
Oh, excuse me, sorry.
Sorry, my hip doesn't want to work.
No worries.
Patricia Kears, 409 Peach Drive. On the resolution, to take this back to the zoning board, is there any possibility that this will be sent to the planning board again, or is the zoning board a definite decision?
It has to go to the zoning board because it was a D variance.
Okay.
And the planning board statutorily can't hear a use variance.
Okay, so if a member of the zoning board or members of the zoning board were in attendance at the hearing on the 22nd, do they have to recuse themselves so it's an untainted hearing?
No, they would not. That's
Okay.
not a conflict.
Okay, and who was responsible for reviewing or in the paper, the resolution, I guess it would be, is the zoning board attorney the one responsible for reviewing to make sure it's correct before it's published?
Well, the issue was that the notice
It
did not
was
state.
insufficient.
It did not state that the resolution had been filed with the clerk and was available for inspection.
Correct.
And under the law, it needed to state that. And so it was 12 days late when it was filed, but then the 10-day period doesn't run unless the notice is legally sufficient.
Correct, but isn't anyone responsible for reviewing that before it hits publication? Like the zoning board attorney?
Well,
Both the
it's-
zoning board, if I may, Brock, both the zoning board and attorney and the zoning board secretary are no longer on the zoning board. We have it's a different secretary and a different attorney.
Okay, all right.
And a different chairman as well.
But who is responsible for
The
reviewing
zoning
that
board is
resolution?
the zoning board is responsible for doing that,
The whole board,
correct?
That's right.
okay. And then I have a question on resolution number 8 for the 4 vehicles at $205,000.
It's a bond
What
that was
is that-
previously
what is that
approved.
for?
What's your question?
The purchase of the 4 vehicles from Gentilini Motors for the
Yes,
total
from state
amount?
contract, yes.
Yeah, I understand that part. What are the 4 vehicles for? What department?
They are 4 SUVs
SUVs for what department?
for the Bureau of Inspections and Construction Officials.
Why do they need SUVs? Why can't they go with a hybrid, a small hybrid, they're riding around town?
Because later on, we will be able to transfer them to another department that will need vehicles. In the construction department, the money that's in the construction department has to be used for the construction department.
And these are all
Right, so-
these are all
so these are-
strictly
these are going-
gasoline?
These are all gasoline vehicles. They're going to the construction department. Next year, when they get new vehicles, these will be transferred to other departments that need the SUVs.
And if I can add, I mean, just working with public purchasing, with the state contract, you're only eligible for certain types of vehicles anyway.
That's correct, yeah, I know
Yeah,
that.
so, and availability for these vehicles are very hard to come by. So, as always, we're lucky to have the opportunity to purchase these.
Safer,
We're
newer
very
vehicles.
lucky not to move into electric vehicles or at least hybrids. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. First off, I just want to thank the commissioners. This is my reason for coming up here. Thanking the commissioners for working with us to allow us to do 4 Fridays. It was a successful event in our community.
I'm going to stop you for 1 minute. I don't want to be rude. Are you speaking on an agenda item Or just in general
Oh,
of?
just a public speaking, nah.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask,
All right.
at the end, that when we do
Okay, I'll
public
do that
comment, you
then.
can
All right.
absolutely address us. I do apologize. Seeing nobody else, will close the public comment portion on agenda items only. If you are here to make comment to the public, please, wait in for the end of the meeting. Any letters and/or petitions this evening?
No, Mayor.
Okay. Reported Commissioners, Commissioner Romanek, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to announce that zoning board will be on September 7th, this Thursday at 6 p.m. And then planning board is scheduled for September 11th here at 6:30. I was able to attend along with the mayor, and I believe Commissioner Hewitt went to our first event of Millville Holly City Fest, a little bit of a tongue twister. It was well received for the first time. We did have a lot of positive comments. I think the mayor can address on this more. It was very, very warm out from 11 to 3. We had 2 live bands, 3 DJs.
There's 3 live bands, 2
Okay.
DJs, if you just.
The other way around. But I think it was very well received. I think it was a good first initial event. August 26th, I don't know if it's the right time of year, but it was a beautiful day nonetheless. And it's great to see the city having these type events for our community to really come out to and enjoy. Other than that, Mayor, that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hewitt.
Yes, thank you. Got a few things tonight. I want to visit Fire, PD, and Rescue Squad. Been some chatter around where's all the people? Are you fully staffed? So I want to just give the public a rundown. Millville PD is 1 officer short of budgeted officers. Right now, fire department, we replaced 1 firefighter and we hired a new one. Just recently, they'll be sworn in next meeting. That leaves us 1 short, but we will be getting 1 next year. All shifts will be manned fully with 5 firefighters. EMS, they're fully staffed, and we have plenty of per diems, which per diems only work when they're needed. They're not an employee of the city. They may work for other ambulance corps and such, and they cover sick days. So I just wanted to touch that. PAL, we had a great year in PAL. A lot of fishing, a lot of activities. It's over with because school is starting tomorrow. The kids did miss the yearly fishing expedition out in the bay on the Bonanza because last week when we were supposed to go, the weather just did not allow it. It wasn't safe to take them out there. The easy part, Halloween. Halloween this year will be on Halloween night, and it will be from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. The reason for the 5 p.m. start is most elementary school kids are just getting home between quarter to 4 and 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock's too early for them. Halloween's for those kids. Plus it gives the parents time to get home. So we will have Halloween on Halloween night from 5 o'clock till 8 o'clock. And that's it, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Watson?
I do have the report from Streets and Roads for the month of August. 8 appliances were collected, 77 tires were collected, 3,264 loose leaves, that's bagged loose leaves, and grass clippings were collected. 41 curbside notices were given out. 4 curbside tickets were written. 187 street sweeping tickets were written. Road repair at Cottage and Wharton was complete. The road repair on Holly Drive is complete but still being monitored. The road repair at 4th and D is completed but is still being monitored. The road repair at 1824 Circle Drive has been complete. The storm pipe at Bogdan and Malone was replaced and the curb was reformed. The retention basin at the end of the Airworks Street cleared and cleaned. The retention basin at the end of Driscoll Street cleared, cleaned, and storm pipe was replaced with a new head wall. All storm basins on Columbia Avenue and Riverside Drive have been cleaned out and ready for replacement and road paving. Brush collection has started today, and we've begun on the east side of town. The Streets and Roads will make one pass for this collection, and if anybody has any questions or concern, please contact Streets and Roads, 856-825-7000, extension 7388. That's all I have.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Well, just touch on a couple things. The demolition of the rescue squad building is recommenced. They already ran in some huge concrete structures that we weren't expecting, but they're tearing those out as well. The Laurel Lake water main upgrade for the Laurel Lake area, we're finalizing the preliminary plans. We're meeting with, engineering is meeting with Commercial Township to discuss their role and how they wish to proceed with the project, if they wish to do it now, later, how they want to finance it, whether we're going to have a shared services agreement or they're going to, whatever. Those details are still being worked out. So that's on the 13th, I believe, at 6 p.m. If any of you guys want to attend, I believe, besides me, let me know. And other than that, progress.
Thank you. All right, so as Commissioner Romanek did touch on, we had on Saturday, August 25th, we held our first Holly City Fest on High Street. There was 3 live bands, 2 DJs, and over 60 vendors of community and community booths. It was a very hot day, so I love to make sure that I thank our public safety crew that was out there, as well as our parks department, that they just were up and down the streets all day long. I'm glad they got to enjoy the food trucks and the ice cream because it was well deserved. And it was a great event by Sam and Brooke and everybody that was involved. I just want to thank everybody. I got some of my Christmas shopping started, so it was nice. I know I didn't get to stop by everybody, and I do apologize for not stopping and saying hi to everybody. I just unfortunately had to get home to the kids and band and all that kind of stuff, so I do apologize. But I want to thank you for being part of that event, and I look forward to a bigger, better event next year.
Also, Mayor, thanks to the Levoy Theater for having their doors open,
Yeah.
and the wonderful air conditioning inside the Levoy Theater, along with every other business that was there, had their doors shut and air conditioning on. It was a great reprieve from the outside temperatures. But
it was a great event. So we definitely look forward to that event, and thanks to the UEZ for providing those funds and the fantastic committee that has made the event happen. And we just look forward to next year. Going from rent to own barbecue is this Saturday, September 9th from 12 to 2 p.m. at Buck Park. There's going to be a DJ and food that will be by Everything Classy, Miss Erica Moore, Milbourne. If you want more information, I believe that's going to be posted. I can have that posted on our website under our events and stuff. But if any questions, you can stop and ask me. Our annual 9/11 ceremony will take place on Monday, September 11th from 6:30 at Buck Park. Please join us as we remember those who have lost their lives on that day. Millville Downtown Car Show is coming up on Saturday, September 16th on High Street, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is free to all car participants. Details can be found by visiting the Great Millville Chamber of Commerce website, which is www.millville-nj.com. Last year we were, I think, almost all the way down to Broad Street. It was a lot of cars. It was really great to see all the turnout. The next city event we have would be the Millville Baby Show that will take place on Saturday, September 30th at Corson Park. Registration starts at noon and the show begins promptly at 1 p.m. All children must be 4 years older and under, and must live in Millville. For more information for this event, please reach out to the Millville Recreation. Lastly, I just want to defer to Solicitor Brock Russell on some items that had been brought to our commission's attention through social media as a press release. So, Brock, if you want to talk to that matter, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, there were some comments that were made on social media about the administrative complaint that was filed by the New Jersey Division of Civil Rights against the city. The Division of Civil Rights, the acronym for them is the DCR. And when that complaint was filed, we received calls from the Daily Journal, the Press, the Philly Voice, South Jersey Times, and the Inquirer. So I prepared a press release on August the 9th, which was issued to all of those newspapers, and I'm going to read it. And there is a copy of it that's on the table that anybody can take a look at. I think there's 20-some copies there. The City of Millville is in receipt of an administrative complaint filed by the State of New Jersey Division on Civil Rights alleging discrimination against Hispanic defendants in its municipal court who may require court interpreting services. While the city has the power to appoint the judge and other officers of its municipal court, under the state constitution, the state judiciary has sole power to oversee the operation or operations of the court. On February 2nd, 2017, the New Jersey Supreme Court adopted a statewide language access plan, the, quote, LAP, end quote, to ensure full and equal access to all New Jersey courts for participants who have limited English proficiency or who are deaf or hard of hearing. All municipal court judges and other court personnel receive regular training from the judiciary to ensure that they comply with the language access plan. And by the way, the director of the AOC's press release on the language access plan is also available for your review, and it's on top of the table. Operations of the municipal court, including compliance with the LAP, are supervised by the judiciary and not by the local governing body. Municipal court personnel answer to the municipal court assignment judge, to the municipal division of the administrative office of the courts, to the Superior Court Assignment Judge for Vicinage 15, ultimately to the Director of the Administrative Office of the Courts. While the City of Millville takes very seriously allegations of discriminatory treatment in its municipal court or elsewhere in the city, under the doctrine of separation of powers, remediation of such a problem must be made by the state judiciary. Of course, the city has in the past and will continue to provide its full cooperation to the assignment judge and other members of the administrative office of the courts as may be requested. So in a nutshell, the city has a supporting role. The judiciary has the primary role here. And the judiciary, I might add, conducted its own inspection or investigation of this complaint and found the complaint was unfounded. And the city also, we were advised, or the judiciary also, we were advised today, will be providing a defense to the city. So I just wanted to make clear, as I did back on August 9th, that we don't have control over court operations, the judiciary does, and if there's a problem, the judiciary is going to have to fix it, not the city.
And Brock, if you would just speak on the other item that we spoke about too, please.
There was an issue about the fact that at the hearing, which was not a regular commission meeting, but the hearing that took place on the appeal from the Board of Adjustment, which was heard at a special hearing on August 22nd, that there was a police officer present, and I believe the applicant was upset about that and commented on it in social media. And I think it's important to remember that when we heard that zoning board appeal, this commission sits in a quasi-judicial capacity. In other words, it's hearing the case as a judge would hear the case, and under the municipal land use law for that type of an appeal, and I'm reading from the MLUL, such appeals shall be decided by the governing body only upon the record established before the Board of Adjustment. And prior to that hearing, we had a number of people that attempted to address the governing body, to influence the governing body. They weren't doing anything wrong, but they wanted to be heard. The problem is we couldn't entertain that testimony. So it was very important to have a police officer here so that we would have an orderly proceeding, and that only the attorneys, and everybody was represented by an attorney, would have the ability to address the board and not anyone else. So that's why it was necessary to have a police officer for that type of proceeding. And I would make two other comments. One is that when this was before, this appeal of the action taken by the Board of Adjustment was in front of Judge Telsey, and it may go back to him in the future based on what I'm hearing, Judge Telsey, there's a bailiff present in his courtroom. And if someone tried to interrupt Judge Telsey or disrupt that proceeding, they would be escorted out of the courtroom. And that's something that occurs in the normal course if there is a hearing before the governing body in its judicial capacity. The other thing I would point out as to security, that if anybody's gone to the Vineland Municipal Building, there is a sign-in sheet, there's a security officer that you have to go through, a checkpoint. I had a meeting a couple of years ago with the Vineland mayor and its attorney, and I had to go through security just to be able to attend that meeting. So I think in Millville we have a lot less security than Vineland does, but certainly it would be appropriate to have a law enforcement officer here when we're conducting a hearing, which is when we're acting in our judicial capacity under those very limited circumstances.
Thank you, Brock. I appreciate that. That's all I have for this evening. We can move on to ordinance under the second reading, please.
Okay. The first item is a bond ordinance authorizing improvements to the municipal water utility system and appropriating the sum of $5 million to pay the cost thereof, to authorize the issuance of $5 million of bonds to finance the appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in the anticipation of the issuance of bonds.
Move the ordinance on second reading.
Second motion.
A motion and second on ordinance number 1. There is a public hearing for this. If anybody has any questions or concerns, please come to the podium and state those. Seeing nobody, will close the public hearing. And any comments of commissioners?
I think we covered it in the presentation.
I appreciate the presentation. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 2 is an ordinance repealing Millville Code Chapter 30, Land Use Regulations, Article 18, Special Use Design and Performance Standards, Section 30-203, Home Animal Agriculture, Subsection C, 5 apiaries.
Make a motion on ordinance on the second reading, item number 2.
Second motion.
I have a motion and second on item number 2. There is also a public hearing for this item. If anybody has any questions or concerns, please come to the podium and state those. Seeing nobody, will close the public hearing. Any comments for commissioners? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 3 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Millville to acquire property known as 1110 Buckshootum Road East, Block 221, Lot 1476, additional Lot 1477, through deed in lieu of foreclosure.
Move the ordinance on second reading.
Second motion.
Motion second on item number 3. There's also a public hearing for this. If anybody has any questions or concerns, please come to the podium and state those. Seeing nobody, will close the public hearing. Any comments of commissioners? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 4 is an ordinance authorizing the City of Millville to acquire property known as 1114 Buckshootum Road East, Block 221, Lot 1478, additional lots 1479 through 1480, through deed in lieu of foreclosure.
Move the ordinance on second reading.
Second motion.
Motion and second on item number 4. There's a public hearing on this item as well. If anybody has any questions or concerns, please come to the podium and state those. Seeing nobody, will close the public hearing. Any comments of commissioners? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 5 is an ordinance amending the salary ordinance to add the following new administration title and compensation for business manager with a minimum of $40,000 and a maximum of $80,000.
Move the ordinance in second reading on item number 5.
Second motion.
Sorry, go.
I have a motion and a second. You need who's second?
Commissioner Watson, I think, right? Okay.
There's a public hearing on this last item. If anybody has any questions or concerns, please come to the podium and state your questions and concerns.
Hi, it's me again. Now I'm going to talk as a tax-paying citizen. So in my day job, I'm actually a union rep for CWA, which is one of the largest, it's the largest union for state employees. I represent state employees, county employees, municipal employees, as well as private employees. At no point in my career or in any contracts or in any negotiations have I ever seen a minimum salary that is half of what the maximum salary is. There's no pay scale where it starts at one thing and gets doubled at the max. So is there any explanation for why that is such a large gap? I mean, in regards to that, is that part of a pay scale? How is that going to be determined whether somebody gets $40,000 or $80,000 of taxpayer money for a position that hasn't existed in how long?
I mean, I would probably say it's probably based off credentials first and the experience that that person has.
Is that public anywhere?
That would be something that we would sit and interview, and that's what we would go over them.
But I'm saying, but that should be available for the public to see as well, correct? I know if you go on, you go on the Civil Service Commission, you can see every single state, county job and the credentials and the salaries and all those things.
What's your question on
I just asked it.
I didn't understand it.
Okay, so the minimum is 40,000.
I got that.
The max is 80,000.
Right.
What is the reason between the discrepancy between the minimum and the maximum salary? That's a huge gap.
Depends who we hire, what their qualifications are, if they meet minimum qualifications or maximum qualifications.
So can you explain
So
what the minimum qualifications and maximum qualifications
I don't have
are?
in front of me what the job description says, but somebody may have experience, may have 30 years' experience in either the private sector or the public sector and come to work at the city, and that experience will weigh heavily on what their salary requirements are. Someone else may not have that much experience. They may have the minimum college degree, and that's it, with no experience, and then they would start at the lower range of the salary. The steps are incrementally broken down over however many steps we have in the contract, which escapes my memory at this moment, whether it's 17? No, that's for cops, right? Council
18, 17.
Okay, so it's 17 steps. So if they started at 40, it would still take them 17 steps to get to 80. If they started at 65, it would still take 17 steps to get them to that.
So if somebody starts at 80, will they max at 80?
Yeah,
So the maximum.
that's the maximum.
I'm just making sure that's not a maximum starting salary.
That's the maximum salary for the position.
Okay, thank you.
Patty Kears, 409 Peach Drive. I'm confused with this title. Is this for the 5th floor? This business manager?
Yes.
Yes.
Strictly the 5th floor? Okay, Mr. Romanek, have you been involved with any of the interviews?
We
Or-
have to post this, we have to amend this title first, and then we are going forward through these, and yes.
You're amending the title?
No, we're creating this position for the 5th floor.
Creating
Okay,
the
so
title
you're
within the city.
You're creating the position. That's what this ordinance is
Creating
for.
the title within the city. It's in
Okay.
civil service, but we're creating so we
Correct.
can
The
use it.
business and manager is the civil service title. So it's for the 5th floor. It's to create the position. Who has done this duty up until now?
For the specific duty, and in consultation with Mr. Romney, nobody is doing it right now. There is not a full-time person up there supervising the entire floor right now. There will be.
Has there ever been?
I think when I was in office last time, maybe Diane Reinhardt was there full-time.
So the position was just done away with. Do you know what the salary range was for that before? Do you
Well,
have
my
any
memory's
idea?
not gonna go back to 2016, sorry.
That's okay, I understand, believe me, I feel your pain. I'm concerned as a citizen because all I hear is there's no money for raises. Everybody is on edge about this, but we're gonna
Who
create
said there was
this
no money
title.
for raises? I'm a little curious.
That's like all over town, Mr. Suey. That's all I hear. You hear it
Okay.
from different people. I wish I could give you a name, but
I wish you could too.
when you go into stores and you go into restaurants, that's the
I wish
stuff
you
you
could give me a
overhear.
name about that too.
Just like other names not given, but, okay, so this is just to create the title and the minimum and the maximum, and it's not actually to hire anybody at this point. Have the interviews been done yet?
No,
Not at all? Okay,
not to my knowledge, you didn't do any yet, did you?
No.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Geary.
Seeing nobody else to close the public hearing for this item. Any comments of commissioners? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui.
Yes.
Commissioner Watson.
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek.
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Ordinances under the first reading, please.
Okay, we have an ordinance confirming and accepting highest bids for certain real property offered for sale at the public auction held on July 11th, 2023.
Make motion?
Second motion.
Motion and second on item number 1. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Well, that was a quick one. Consent agenda items, please.
All right, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Board of Commissioners and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of those items unless a governing body member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 1 is a resolution authorizing water sewer termination on September 18, 2023, due to failure to have and maintain a proper working water meter pursuant to Section 56-18 and 56-52 of the Municipal Code. Item 2 is a resolution authorizing water sewer termination on September 18, 2023, due to non-payment pursuant to Section 56-18 and 56-52 of the Municipal Code. Item 3 is a resolution authorizing the tax collector to enter into an installment plan pursuant to NJSA 54:5-19 for back taxes owed on Block 161, Lot 607, known as 13 Maple Road, in the amount of $1,107.63 in 12 installments, with the first installment due October 1st, 2023. Item 4 is a resolution authorizing adjustments in the tax and utility record.
Make a motion to approve all consent agenda items.
Second motion.
A motion and second to approve all consent agenda items. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you. The resolutions, please.
Okay, we have a resolution awarding a professional service contract to Bay Hill Environmental, 2060 Fairfax Avenue, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, pursuant to a non-fair and open process for a period of 12 months from September 5th, 2023 to September 4th, 2024, whereas the contractor shall be compensated directly by property owners in full consideration of all services performed.
Move the resolution on item number 1.
Second motion.
I have motion and second on resolution item number 1. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. We're going to move along to item 4, which is a resolution designating authorized signers for municipal court bank accounts.
Move the resolution.
Second motion.
Motion and second on item number 4. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 5 is a resolution of the Board of Commissioners reversing Millville Board of Adjustment Resolution Number 21-2022 ZB and remanding the application of Our Future First for a use variance back to said board for a rehearing.
Move the resolution on item number 5.
Second motion.
I have a motion and a second on item number 5. Any comments?
Yes. So, the purpose you have zoning regulations is to guide the development of land in an orderly fashion and prevent conflicts from different types of uses. Now, just for an example, you might not want a shopping center or a factory next to your house. You might not want a strip club in a residential home area. Now, the zoning board can grant variances, which is what happened. And when those variants are granted, particularly D variances, anyone can appeal that decision. This board, I believe, upheld the legal right of a person to appeal that decision. The judge said, let the appellant exhaust all the administrative remedies. So that's what we're doing. We're letting the appellant exhaust all the administrative remedies. I see nothing wrong with that. There was an error by the zoning board in the publishing. We got into that in the hearing. I'm not going to rehash that. These appeals exist for a purpose, so it's fair for everybody, not just Mr. Tom, not just Mr. Abbott, but anybody else in the entire city could have appealed that if they so desired. So that's all I have on that matter right now.
Can I just comment, because even if the notice had been perfect, the board, in my opinion, still had the right to grant an extension of time. And under the if there had been a prerogative writ application to Superior Court, the Superior Court judge can grant an extension of the 45-day period that applies for that. There was a legal argument, well, you can't do that because there's no case law out there, but the treatise on zoning and land use law, which is by Professor Cox, which is the Bible, anybody that practices land use law is going to have that book, has the opinion or expresses the opinion that you can grant a reasonable postponement. And in this particular case, it was only a 12-day extension. In addition, the objector's attorney was hired by the Board of Adjustment to be its new lawyer I think about 10 or 15 days before the time expired for filing the appeal. So that was certainly a circumstance for the board to consider. And there was no prejudice to anyone in granting that short extension. So the board had the right to grant the extension even if there hadn't been a notice problem, but there was a notice problem, and that was an independent reason for granting the extension. And quite frankly, if Mr. Tom feels that determination by the board, which was already made, we're not making it tonight, all we're doing is memorializing the decision into a resolution. If he thinks that we were wrong, if he thinks that I was wrong, and I'm not perfect, I can be wrong from time to time, he certainly can appeal that to Judge Telsey. He doesn't have to go back before the board if he feels strongly about that, and then Judge Telsey will make a decision. Or he can go before the Board of Adjustment, and he can ask the board to grant the use variance. And if the board grants the variance, an objector could bring it back before this body. If the board denies the variance, then it wouldn't even come back before us. It would go directly to Judge Telsey. So I strongly suspect it's going to wind up back before Judge Telsey, no matter what happens. But I think the board properly exercised its discretion in granting a short enlargement of time, and in also finding that the notice was defective. And then the next step was, should the board have heard the D variance on the 22nd, or should the board have sent it back to the zoning board? And I think where you had, one of the members of the board, clearly his father's property was within the 200-foot list, and under the care of Tenafly case, it's not even close. I mean, it has to go back. But the board attorney also received a 200-foot notice, so he should have disqualified himself. So I think there was ample reason to send it back before the Board of Adjustment. But again, you already made that decision. This is going to be a vote to memorialize the resolution, and under the municipal land use law, Commissioner Hewitt can't vote on this particular vote, because you can only vote on it if you voted in favor of the action taken by the board. And since Commissioner Hewitt did not vote in favor of the action taken, he can't vote on this.
Thank you, Brock. I appreciate the explanation. Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Abstain.
Commissioner Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. All right, item 6 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of 2 recycling balers for cardboard and plastic film from BE Equipment Incorporated pursuant to a non-fair and open process for $14,781 each, with a total amount of $29,562.
Make a motion on resolution item number 6.
Second motion.
Motion second on item number 6. Any comments? Oh, you have your
Yes, I do have
certification funds.
certification funds. Signed by Chief Financial Officer Marcella Shepard, in the amount of $29,562.
Yeah, I have a comment.
Good.
These will work to create a revenue stream. The plastic film will be sent to a manufacturer that makes, like, I can't remember which exact product it is, but artificial wood products for decking.
Trex.
Which,
Trex?
yeah, so it's sent to Trex for that, and the cardboard will also get paid for, so these will pay for themselves eventually. And the money was made out of CDBG, I believe, or Clean Communities Grant.
Yeah.
So it was made out of Clean Communities Grant, again, not affecting the tax rate for the expenditure of these funds. Again, I want to thank Commissioner Watson's department for raising this issue and looking into it, and then we did the financial analysis. It's a good idea.
Yeah, great job to our recycling coordinator. This also gives the residents an opportunity, small business an opportunity to bring their plastics and cardboard, and obviously once everything's up and running, we'll update their website and we'll update our pamphlet to give you guys more information. Thanks for Water and Sewer for their assistance in this as well. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, everyone. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item 8 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of 4 vehicles from Gentilini Motors through the state contract for a total amount of $205,095.72.
Move the resolution.
Second
And I
motion.
have- Oops, that's all right. I have certification of funds in the amount of $205,095.72 signed by the CFO, Marcella Shepherd.
Commissioner Hewitt was the second.
Thank you.
I have a motion and a second on resolution number 8. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff?
Yes.
Motion carries.
New business, please.
I just need a motion to authorize the following special events on public lands application pending approvals, and that would be the Walk for a Cure Saturday, September 16, 2023, from 10 to 1 at Buck Park, Waltman Park, sponsored by Barb Russick, and also the Millville Car Show, Saturday, September 16, 2023, rain date September 17, 2023, on High Street, from Main to Broad.
Make motion.
Second the motion.
I have a motion and a second on new business item number 1. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 2, I just need a motion to authorize the following social affair permit, chicken barbecue at the Elks Lodge on September 10, 2023, from 12 to 3.
I do have a question for, I guess, go ahead and motion, and then I'll ask my question.
Make the motion on new business item number 2.
Second motion.
A motion and a second on new business item number 2. Any comments?
I know it's just a barbecue, Brock, but do I have to abstain? My aunt and uncle are.
If your aunt and uncle are members, that
my aunt's
relationship
sta-
is attenuated, you don't have to abstain.
Okay, sounds good. Like, I get in trouble for a lot of reasons.
It's always better to ask.
Yeah,
Safe to start.
I'm going to that barbecue.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. And I just need a motion to authorize the city clerk to advertise for the following requests for proposals to be received by the purchasing agent on September 22nd, 2023, at 1 p.m. That's to operate a beer garden at the Fall Block Party.
So moved.
Second motion.
A motion and a second on new business item number 3. Any comments? Should be a good event if we can get this approved, and it'd be fun, another fun event to have on High Street with a beer garden. I think it'll be really fun and just have a great crowd out. Another fun event that Sam and her crew gets to plan. New roll call, please.
Commissioner Hewitt?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Sui?
Yes.
Commissioner Watson?
Yes.
Commissioner Romanek?
Yes.
Mayor Orndorff?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Right, public comment. If you have reached the public comment portion of our meeting, anyone who would like to address the commission, please come to the podium, state your name, your address, and your concerns. Please limit your comments to approximately 5 minutes.
Hello, good evening. My name is Tracy Wells Huggins. I live at 828 Eastwood Street in Vineland, New Jersey. Beautiful Vineland, but we don't have this foolishness. And I'm also a board member for Our Future First. The first thing I'd like to say is it's kind of disrespectful to even jest or kind of equate a community center that is seeking to serve black and brown people in the same sentence as a strip club. Just felt like that was a little out of order. Maybe that's just me. The city of Millville is under serious scrutiny for open acts of disparate treatment of select members of the community, but we all know that, and the nation is watching. Amidst months of investigations and now a full-fledged court takeover, there seems to be even more cause for concern regarding the manner in which not only are certain populations treated, but are perceived explicitly by notable and currently seated elected officials. Our Future First is an organization that is committed to serving some of the most vulnerable community members through education, empowerment, and coalition building efforts. These improve lives. We need that in this city. We're being hindered from doing that work. We've wondered why the purchase of our beautiful centralized downtown location has been met with so much blatant resistance. But a recent email by an elected official, namely Mr. Commissioner Ben Romanek, shed some light on that. It's led to the fact that we are currently embroiled in a very unnecessary legal battle. We're spending thousands of dollars that could be invested and reinvested into the community. Makes me emotional. Because most of the people that would be impacted and served by this are young people who look like me. There was a request on behalf of the mayor, Ms. Lisa Orndorff herself, and the commissioner, Ben Romanek, to have a police presence in the event of any unruliness by members of the community. And this was noted in quotes. It's no coincidence that this potential for unruly behavior is clearly attributed to the largely black and brown attendees of the meeting to support our maintenance of our Sassafras Street space. How convenient is it that when folks of color and their allies band together to speak truth to power, that fear and the use of forceful presence is leveraged to quell their voices? It's hard to see why this type of action is anything less than one of intimidation and unmitigated bias. It makes one wonder if the allegations already levied against the city run deeper than the case they're currently under investigation for, does it not? As an organization, we're deeply saddened, we are frustrated, and we're disappointed in the ways that privilege and power appear to be playing out. But do not mistake our commitment to transparency. We are committed to sharing our experience boldly as we face the unnecessary fight ahead. We exist to create safe space for a community that is rocked with more senseless death than any one small town could ever imagine, and on a larger scale, a county that has the same thing. We all need a helping hand, but we'll not be bullied. We will not be intimidated by threats of force when we are in a coalition-building entity that seeks to restore and build communities so that everyone feels safer in this city, and the ones adjacent to it. And lastly, but certainly not least, we most definitely will not allow racism or bias to go unchecked any longer, especially among those who've been elected to serve all the people, and those people without prejudice.
So, again, my name is Sean Thom. I'm the Executive Director for Our Future First. It's hard to believe that in 2023, we're forced to discuss elected officials using the police as a way to quell possible dissent and to intimidate peaceful, concerned citizens attending a public hearing, but here we are. So let's look at some facts, shall we? So it's not a routine procedure to have armed police officers at city commission meetings or public meetings or hearings. I've been a part of many and I've never seen any. First time I've seen it in my life. And so in the email sent to Millville Police Captain Hager, Commissioner Ben Romanek requested an officer or two on behalf of himself and Mayor Lisa Orndorff. He mentioned that they were expecting a large and possibly unruly crowd, and that the presence of an officer or two will help if there does come of an unruliness from those that will be there attending. This is exactly what Commissioner Romanek wrote. Now, Captain Hager did not ask for any other information there. Nothing regarding the unruliness or any possible threats or anything along those lines, and simply responded to the email saying, "We can accommodate this request, and an officer will be assigned." At no point did any individual remotely connected with our organization mention, encourage, post, etc., anything about being unruly. We encourage our community members to attend the hearing to see how their elected officials would rule on an appeal against a much-needed community center. However, this diverse group of concerned and peaceful individuals were greeted by an armed police officer standing guard in the commission chambers. Now, this might not be a comfortable situation or topic, especially as white people, which our entire commission board is. But we must discuss this. See, 4 of our organization's 6 board of director members identify as black, indigenous, or people of color, BIPOC. 75 to 80% of the families that our organization serves identifies as BIPOC. The majority of our volunteers and supporters are BIPOC. Furthermore, the majority of the individuals who came out with our organization that night are BIPOC. See, our organization has held and participated in countless events throughout the city over the last 5 years and attended many commission meetings without any unruliness. Knowing this, what can we assume about the underlying reason for the request of the police presence by Commissioner Romanek and Mayor Orndorff? Where did they get the idea that our supporters, our volunteers, the members of our board of directors would be so unruly that an armed police presence would be necessary? They clearly made a judgment based on their own bias of who our supporters, volunteers, and board of directors are and how we would act in public. This judgment was so powerful that they were afraid for their safety and wanted armed police present. They even walked out of City Hall together under escort of that armed police officer. For some reason, there's a bias against our organization and our supporters when we have done nothing to anybody but seek to work in our community. Whether this bias was implicit based on their subconscious beliefs or explicit based on their conscious beliefs of who we are and our ethnic makeup is a question that only they can answer. That, however, is a question that they must answer, especially to the public that they are supposed to serve. It's no secret that the city of Millville has complaints filed against them by the New Jersey Attorney General for discriminatory practices regarding the treatment of BIPOC individuals. This attempt to intimidate individuals into behaving through the use of armed police can be seen as an act of aggression, especially when reviewing the entire situation. Knowing the history of police force being used to intimidate BIPOC individuals and the history of police in general in this nation makes this incredibly disturbing. Rest assured, this will also be reported to the Division of Civil Rights. While we do not know the real motivation behind the
Mr.
armed
Thom,
police
that's your
presence-
5 minutes. I appreciate your opinions tonight. I've timed it. It was
No.
8:20. Excuse me.
It
I'm
hasn't
just
been
saying
5
both
minutes.
of you. It was 5 minutes. I
So-
timed it.
So while we do not know the real motivation
Excuse me
behind
if
the
I
armed-
need.
This is ridiculous. It hasn't even been 5 minutes.
See, Mr. Tom, you're being disruptive now. You're speaking beyond your
Have a
time.
cop take
You're
me out.
yelling.
It's
You're
not even
speaking
5
in a loud
minutes.
voice.
There's
Yeah.
a video right there. It was recorded.
You
when I
started
stood up.
speaking at 8:17. It is
It's
now 8.
recorded right there. Are you
had-
serious?
You had your
I will
chance to
call an
talk.
officer if I need to
Of
and
course
have you
will. You called
removed.
the cops to begin with. Tell us how you really feel.
Disrespecting an elderly man. You ought to shake yourself, you asshole.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me.
All right, calm him down, Joe.
If you are going to be disrespectful to the commission and any public member in here, you can leave the building now. Thank you. Sir, the podium is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm Wade Lopeman. Live in Vineland, New Jersey by way of Millville my whole life. Used to work for the city of Millville. You know, first of all, I want to thank y'all for the 4 Fridays. It was a family night that we had. Talked to Mayor Orndorff, and she supported this wholeheartedly. Commissioner Romanek, thank you for coming out, showing out, and judging our dance contest. You was out there 3 of our 4 Fridays family nights. 4 Friday family nights was 80% black people. We had 500 people out there, and you know, it would have been nice to see some of our community leaders out there too. You know what I mean? But they wasn't out there. You know, I have to speak on what's going on right here. It's not what I came up here for, but this is what I have to do. I have nothing written out. I don't think we have an issue of bias here. You know what I mean? I've been to county meetings about broadband where 90% of the crowd was 70, 80-year-old white people in there. And they had security in there. They had sheriff officers there. Now you telling me they're going to be unruly? But there was a large crowd. And Sean, you even said that, you know what I mean, they have to have a police present if it's a large or unruly crowd. Nobody said you was unruly until you proved your point tonight. You know what I mean? I'm not a fan of Sean Tom, just like I'm not a fan of Commissioner Silwy. You know what I mean? So, but...
Excuse me, if the side comments are going to continue, you can leave.
While I'm sitting here trying to listen to Mr. Logan.
I'm talking to everybody over there. If you're gonna continue to be rude, you can leave. Thank you.
But living in a city where, compared to violent in Millville, 70% of gun violence is higher in Millville than it is violent in Millville. 30% of the school dropouts in Millville is higher than violent in Millville. There is a need for a community center, but it's not a need for a fight. You know what I mean? The Trump tactics that we're experiencing today is a setback for our whole community. We need to learn to work together and build bridges, not burn bridges. And I think as a community, you know, we need a community center, and we need to figure out how can we work together to build this community center. You know, our kids is very much in need. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Sean, but we need something in our community. And you know, we do have American Rescue Funds out here that can help, you know what I mean, build a community center. There's $7.4 million that was donated, that was granted to the city, to our municipality, and we, you know, if there's some way that we can get something going on, there is land in the center city that is available. There is an opportunity for, you know, a community center in Millville. So I think if we all can work together and not and leave the Trump tactics at home, you know what I mean, there's no bias, there's no racism here. We all need to get past that. And let's all work together as a community and figure this out.
Thank you, Wade.
Thank you, Wade.
My name is Barry Campbell, and I live at 408 East Street. Following the young man's comments, I just want to say thank you to the commissioners. I was really very surprised to hear the talk about all the negativity that's happening in the community when the goal should be to help the youth. It seems that it's lost in all what seems to be sniping and politics. So I'm really here this evening, in contrast to that, to say thank you to the commissioners for your help in helping us organize a youth center at 1300 Wheaton Avenue. I think your openness and just being able to be welcoming has afforded us the opportunity to get assistance from some of the artists that are in North Jersey, like rappers and so on. I'm not at liberty to say who right now, but I think you'll agree that it's someone that's got relevance and importance and that can help us. Part of the mission statement in the community center that we're trying to organize will be, of course, youth-centered, without race, without politics, without religion, without ethnicity, without any of that stuff. The focus will be to help these youths to attain adulthood in a productive way that gives back to our community in a way that helps us all. I think the young man pointed out a very important point when he said that we're a community and we should all work together. I mean, it's important to do that. And we have assets and resources that are coming from various parts. And why can't we leverage that to help this vulnerable section of our society, the youth? I mean, it makes no sense. Again, I want to thank you because I just want to keep this short. I think we have an opportunity to work together. Let's do that. One last point. While we may agree that this is, a worthwhile endeavor, it sometimes has hair on it, because we're finding out that in order to accomplish this, we sometimes run into administrative hurdles, legal hurdles. So we may be back to you again to say, hey, listen, we need some additional support. But lastly, I want to say thank you, and I just hope we can work together to make our youth the priority and nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry.
Hi, My name is Joe Orndorff. That's my daughter, the mayor. Very, very proud of her. Love her so much. I just want to start off with a reading from Scripture. It's from Luke 8:17. It says, "For there is nothing hidden that will not become visible, nothing secret that will not be known and come to light." You know, we talk about the word intimidation. My daughter, let's go back to 2021, Kirk. You came to our home. You enlisted the aid of my daughter. You were so passionate about the Liberty Village 3 project. It's an outrage. It's wrong. It needs to be stopped. This affordable housing community is bad, and it lowers the value of my home. You asked my daughter to help you. You said to me, you put your hand on my shoulder and said, "Joe, don't worry, I got your daughter. I protect her. I got her back." Do you recall that? You recall? Oh, okay, good. So since then, it's come to my attention, right? This is prior to the election and maybe right after the election. You were passing around rumors and innuendos that my daughter was colluding with the former mayor Jim Quinn, some nefarious plot. I guess you don't like Mr. Mayor Jim Quinn too much. Now, she's never been in politics prior in her life, okay? Never. She wanted to help this community do good. She's a mother, a Christian, 2 young children. She's she's got a full-time job. And all she wanted to do is help this community. So, you casting aspersions and rumors that she's colliding, wouldn't it make sense that if I ran for office and became mayor of this city, I think I'd want to sit down with Jim Quinn because he was the former mayor of this city. And he may be able to shed some light and intelligence on me. But no, you passed out some nefarious plot. Oh, and talk about intimidation. And who's the wonderful person who posted my daughter's water bill on Facebook or the internet or social media? What was the purpose of that? Was that to teach her a lesson? Was that to embarrass her, shame her? What was the good of that? Oh, and then some other person the other day, she was looking to go out and play golf. Oh, the mayor's looking to play golf. So woe to any public person in this city who wants to run for office and help the city, because apparently if you try to do good in this city, you're going to get disparaged. You're going to be threatened. Oh, and by the way, when you were disparaging her in a meeting, you went out to her and confronted her in the parking lot. Oh, I'm talking, not you.
I have it recorded, by the way, I can tell you.
Good. Good for you. Record all you want.
There's no need to side comment, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Keep your spot. Oh, and also, too, it's come to my attention, Kirk, that you have told people that you were going to destroy my daughter. Was that destroy her what? Physically? Was that destroy her financially? Destroy her credibility? What was that all about? You don't deserve to be sitting in that seat there, a commissioner,
Dad,
intimidating
that's
people.
your 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
You saw that, right?
I did see it. However, if it's going to continue, if you're going to continue, you can leave. Do not be disrespectful in the meeting. Thank you.
Good evening. Tim Sperania, 8 Jenny Drive, Millville, New Jersey. I've known the Orthorn family for 27 years. When I moved in, Lisa was 10 years old, and all the kids in that
Can
neighborhood
you
played
speak,
together.
Mr. Sprang, can you speak into the
I'm sorry.
microphone?
And all the children played together, and I watched, as all the other parents did. There is no hate in the Orndorff family. They are a family of love, good Christians, God-fearing people. Lisa has not a hateful bone in her body. And for anybody to assume otherwise, well, they use the word assume, and that you know what that makes you. Lisa wanted to help this community. She has raised more money and done more for the youth. Maybe it's not exactly in Millville, but she helped raise over $50,000 for Make-A-Wish campaign. And for someone to spew the hate that I've seen on social media in the recent days, well, I guess proves a point that maybe they shouldn't be the one mentoring our at-risk children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy Cook, Valene. I've got to say, in all the years I've been coming to the commission meetings, this has been one of the absolute worst I have ever witnessed. First of all, everybody's disparaging everybody. I'm looking at a commissioner up there who was rolling his eyes, and everybody out here can see it and can see that he's upset with what's being said. I think that's totally inappropriate. Okay? Nobody should be making comments like that, either with their eyes, their facial expressions, at a meeting like this. You can voice your opinions, but you can do it in a respectful way, and I hope I'm doing that now. I will say, as a former person involved with police through the Army, I almost walked out of this meeting last week because I saw an armed police officer here. To me, that means somebody made a threat, trouble is anticipated. I think something should have been said last week as to why that happened. The only reason I didn't get up and leave was because this was protecting me. Because I was sitting near the back, this was in the way. But I had my escape plan already set off in my head if something happened. I think that sent the wrong message to the community, and maybe it should have been addressed at the beginning of the session as to why there was an armed police officer here. Another thing that has upset me is I have listened tonight to a couple questions that were asked that were not answered. I'm sorry, Commissioner Suey, Vice Mayor Suey, but you were asked a couple times who was in charge of making sure that that application was filed properly to the news agencies about the meeting, about, for an appeal. You never answered that question. All you kept saying was the board was supposed to do it. Isn't there somebody on the board that is in charge of that? And if so, and if they're still on the board, I think they should recuse themselves from any next meetings of the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Hi, my name is Felicia Stevenson. Address is Val Lane in Millville. I'm new to Millville. I've been in Millville. October will be 2 years. I came from another township in Fairfield Township. But when I came to Millville, I loved Millville. I never knew who our mayor was in Fairfield Township. I never knew our commissioners. When I came here, immediately I met Miss Lisa, and it felt like family. She had a caring heart. My kids love her. We do a lot of give back in the community. We have a lemonade stand, a lemonade business called the Stevenson Kids. We're out a lot in the community. We do a lot for the community. I love giving back to the police officers. I do child care for some of the police officers, some of the firefighters. I love the city of Millville.
Millville. I can stand behind and say Miss Lisa has a heart to love us, and even the children, the youth. I don't get no slurs where Miss Lisa was racist. I didn't know none of this was going to be at the meeting. I didn't know nothing was being addressed. I was just simply come out to hear what the city was doing and what was going on. And it just hurt my heart to hear her water bill is being on social media. Things is happening to her on social media. We're a city. Let's stand up. Let's support each other. Let's be a family. Let's work together. How are children going to know? We have to be the examples. We got to be the leaders to show them how to act. How could you ask for a youth center and you can't even control your temper and your attitude? How could you be over it? Yes, I would have had police escort if you was coming in, because you showed me a different person. You can say one thing, but your actions say a lot. Conduct yourself. We all in this city. I have children. My heart is for kids. I love kids. And let's bring the kids together. But that attitude is not going to, I wouldn't send my kids to your youth center. No way.
Felicia,
and I would keep
I'm
others
going to
away.
ask you to address the commission, please.
Okay, so I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
Commissioners, I want to just say I thank you guys. Mr. Romick, Mayor Lisa, I thank you guys for being examples in our city. I thank you for standing up. I thank you for being for us. I love Lisa. I love the city of Millville in general. And that's all I wanted to say.
I love your kids. They're so, Joy and Nathan, they always run up to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Felicia.
And their lemonade's really good, just saying.
Hi, Greg Kears, Peach Drive. I guess I have the really random question tonight. About the apiaries. I guess I wanted some clarification since I know legal's hard to read for everybody. I know it's really good news, but I guess maybe let the citizens know that I know, Brock, you also garden. It's kind of an awesome thing, so I guess what it means. That's all.
It's beekeeping.
No, I mean like what the change was between.
So we had to take our ordinance, I believe,
Yeah, because
and
the
then
state-
adhere to what the state
The
says.
state's preempted local
Correct.
regulation.
To 'em. Doesn't mean you can't have bees in if you're a
No, I mean,
beekeeper.
it's a good
But
thing.
it's a good thing, yeah.
It's encouraging. It's a great thing.
We all like local honey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So hi everyone, I'm Megan McConnell. I'm actually the state apiarist, so I enforce the state laws that deal with beekeeping. I happen to live
That
in
was
Millville.
random.
Well, Ben, I had seen at an event in the city this weekend, and so he told me it was up again. We had sent out an email to all 300 plus municipalities asking them to repeal any bee laws that did not follow the state laws that were previously written in about 2018. And so, yeah, if you have any beekeeping questions, I guess you can ask me about them. But currently, the Millville ones and a few others conflicted with what the state law said. So they just had to correct that so that everything fell under the state umbrella.
Megan, I appreciate you coming, and I'm sure do you have a contact that we can
Yeah,
to give if anybody or
you can Google me. It's just Megan McConnell, state apiarist.
there you go. It's on the record though, so if anybody wants to Google it.
Yeah.
Grow
Thank you, Megan.
lavender, that's what the bees like.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, seeing nobody else, we'll close the public comment for this evening's meeting and go to closing comments of commissioners. Commissioner Romanek.
Yes, I hope everybody had a great Labor Day. Always to thank those that did have to work on Labor Day, but I hope everybody did enjoy their Labor Day. Thank you. That's all, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Watson.
Yeah, thank you, Streets and Roads, all their hard work putting the Baylor project together for us. Sal from Water Department and Derek from Water Department, Sal from Sewer. Great presentations. Thank you for coming. I think that's about all I have. Oh, on the way home today, I was held up. There was an accident, and there was 6 or 7 police officers out there, and they're out there in the middle of traffic, and in a situation that was probably unsafe for them, trying to make sure everybody else got to where they were supposed to be. So thank you to the Millville Police Department for what they did today in that busy area. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Hewitt.
Nothing at this time.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Sure. I'm going to address the police officer at the hearing. Now, I recommended against having a uniformed officer out here in the chambers. Any member of this commission that wants to request a police officer at a meeting at Chambers for whatever reason they want, they certainly have a right to request that, well within their bounds of authority. Now, what I did recommend is that if a police officer needed to be here if something happened, that they would be out of sight or in plain clothes. There's a room back there where we monitor the live feed. I recommend either a uniformed officer be there or in the back. That way, if there was a need for a response, it would have been nearly immediate. I recommended this not because I didn't think or did think that there was a threat, although other members of our governing body may have thought so. I don't know. I can't read their minds. I recommended this course of action because I've been around long enough to know that certain members of our community would use the excuse of a uniformed police officer as an act of intimidation or racism, which was clearly not the case. The people using this as an excuse and using it, in my opinion, in order to exert political pressure on this board to make a decision in favor of their particular project. You guys can certainly figure that out, who that is and what project it is, all by yourself. I find this behavior despicable. The negative publicity that this causes to our community harms the reputation of those that do serve. It certainly discourages many people from actually running for public office. Maybe you would have better commissioners up here if you'd knock off the baloney. It certainly harms economic development when people outside the city that want to invest in the city see this baloney. And it also has a negative impact on our children. What do you think of you teaching them? I urge all of you to think long and hard before spreading rumors, innuendos, and either purposefully or accidentally giving out false information, particularly on social media where you can hide behind a keyboard. As the saying goes, a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth can get its boots on. Progress.
Thank you. This is nice to see a good crowd tonight. I'm sure there's a lot of people watching. So I want to thank everybody, the public who has attended and who is watching this evening, for your interest and participation in tonight's meeting. I want to thank Mr. Thom for your service to and commitment to our community. We look forward to continuing dialogue with you on this community center and other organizations in Millville that provide the necessary and vital opportunities for our young youth. I appreciate all the support and love that every single one of you have for our community. As many of you said tonight, let's work together, because that's what it's all about. I want to thank my commission, our city workers, and again, the community of Millville. I hope you all have a great night. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you to my father. Love you. Love you. God bless you all. Just need a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion?
Second.
All in favor?